But even so, you said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water, but if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body. But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing the ground was complete.
I have to agree. Maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it.
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you know?
I think... Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Then that's up.
Sorry, I'm having a tough...
Here's what happened. The murder took place, but the body didn't get wet, because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time they pulled the coat over the body. The coat they'd already covered in. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred. They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off.
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes...
But... wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned?
That actually wouldn't have been all that different. They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe.
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall...
Oh, no. I headed off to the gym, and Makoto...
Then he had plenty of time to spare.
That's not...
Don't bother saying it's not...
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is... Well then, it looks like Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again...
For serious, man? Hey, why don't we let luck decide?
Oh!
See? Pretty...
No, not that!
Well, don't just stand there.
You know that knife we found all
One we found stuck in the butt. According to the Monokuma file, the knife So?
I'm pretty sure that's what I thought when I first saw it.
You don't seem surprised.
Yeah.
Then why did you hide that?
It's not that I hid it.
Suspicious! The knife we found stuck in the body. Now I'm totally convinced.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto!
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it! Makoto did it!
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto!
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, that seals it! Makoto did it!
Just because I had the knife, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her.
No, that's wrong! Wait, hold on. The stab wound, that should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just...
Lies! We never talked about what killed her!
No! Don't the killer covered the dead body with the tarp, and then put the bloody coat... In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Okay, fine!
So... the knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body. Meaning, If she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill.
I got it! The Monokuma file clearly states
Oh yeah, it sure did.
Then the knife.
was just another piece of camouflage. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away. Exploding the body afterward was probably... The explosion severely damaged the body. Maybe it was all the killer's attempt to do.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy.
Oh, hey, I have a question. What's the deal with that explosion anyway?
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use,
Well, if you're so smart.
I'll tell you. I bet some unknown quantum particle.
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough.
go ahead, Makoto.
I got it! After the explosion, that fragment reveals the... That's only natural. We saw the same thing when it's part of a bomb.
Oh, then the explosion was because of the Monokuma.
Anyway, the culprit's motive is because they wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury, and the only one who would benefit is the only other possible.
Hold on a second, Byakuya.
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think...
That's true. It's definitely...
Fine. I have no problem with that. It won't change the facts of... Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. I guess.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh yeah. According to the... Monokuma file? That's gotta be it! There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to...
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well,
Yeah, she was already...
And it wasn't me because of the knife. And then there's only...
Oh yeah. That's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back.
and more than that,
The victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Shoot!
then shall we continue the victim's fatal injury has yet...
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already totally...
And it wasn't me because of... And then there's only one other...
Oh yeah. According to... That's gotta be it.
There was evidence that showed
She was hit on the back of her head.
Shoot!
Then shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh yeah. Well, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that...
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then shall we continue the victim's fatal injury?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already totally...
And it wasn't me because of the knife, right?
Shoot!
Then shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
Shoot!
Then shall we continue? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be...
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't because of the knife. I mean, there's only one.
Oh, yeah.
That's gotta be it!
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Then shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't
Oh yeah! That's gotta be it! There was that.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
Then shall we continue?
The victim's fatal injury.
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Shoot!
Then shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has...
No, that's wrong! Mukuro died because of the blow to the back of the head.
What about the wounds all over the rest of her body? They didn't have...
The Monokuma file makes it clear that...
Oh yeah, good point. If they're...
Okay, then we're safe and assume...
The Monokuma file says she was hit with a...
Oh! I bet it was the pit...
How is that even possible? If you hit...
Well, maybe they held it the other way.
No way! The balance would be all off. You wouldn't be able to... I wouldn't mind testing it on you if you...
No thanks. I bet you just hit me with a metal end and call it an accident.
I'd love to scoop out that nasty brain if you... Seriously?
We want to figure out what killed her, right?
We already know.
So what was it?
Go ahead and tell them, Makoto. Sure.
I got it! Mukuro was hit in the back of the head with something. And that something was the titanium arrow we found in the locker.
Arrow.
Indeed.
Are you sure? Hey! How dare you backtalk? I'm not backtalking anything.
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, because in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin. Talking back to Master! You have no right!
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, because in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Talking back to Master!
You have no right!
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Shoot!
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, because in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
No, it's wrong! You're right. Just the one arrow would have been too weak.
Another weapon?
Inside the dojo locker, we also found a balled up... The killer probably uses duct tape to bind multiple arrows together. Bundling them together using the duct tape would easily create a single weapon as thick as a... And that's exactly what the killer...
It's similar to Aesop's fable about the bundle of sticks. One stick is weak. We put them together, and they become strong. It's meant to teach cooperation.
That's hard.
How is it harsh?
Anyway, that explains the murder weapon. As for who the culprit is that stabbed, it was you.
I've never been to the dojo.
Oh no.
How can you say that with such...
Because we have proof, of course.
Oh!
Well, surely you don't intend to. You know what will happen if you do. If you cover for the culprit, the death of us all.
Of course...
Then show us. Show everyone.
I got it! The one thing that proves right here.
And how does that prove
Because
it was...
Don't bother trying to. That key is just your non-existent alibi, your clear motive, your attempts to frame. This all proves that you.
hold on a second.
Not this again.
No, it's not that there's one more thing I need. Kyoko. Last night. Why? That's what I need to know.
I was just... protecting you.
What?
That's enough. The time for idle.
Wait, I'm warning you. Don't make this mistake.
I knew you were stubborn.
Really? But you should... Can you tell me I'm wrong?
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me!
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit.
Shoot!
Those words you just spoke.
What do you...
Exactly what I'm not the killer. You should understand that.
Byakuya,
Master would never hide.
There's proof that you aren't. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct?
Shoot! I refuse to give up yet!
Those words you just spoke.
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer.
You should understand that. Master would never hide something.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory. You said I hid the evidence of my crime and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
Those words you just spoke.
Exactly what I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone.
What are you, Master would never hide something.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime and then left the locker key in my own room, correct?
But could I really have done that?
Those words you just spoke.
What exactly what I said? I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone.
Master would never hide something.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit.
No, it's wrong! If I'm right, Kyoko wouldn't have been able to get into her room because she had given her room key to Byaku.
I see. So that's... And if I had the key to your...
Then obviously I had no... Without my room key, I couldn't have possibly... Am I wrong?
It would appear not.
Then you're finally starting to under...
There was a lie hidden within.
A lie?
Isn't that right?
You said it. The burden of proof, so let's hear it. I didn't have the key to my room because I'd given it to Byakuya. There's no doubt about that, right?
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten into my...
No, that's wrong. No. Kyoko, you said so yourself.
Monokuma's...
Kyoko stole it from the headmaster's room, which means she could have used...
Then I guess that's it.
You're giving up just...
No, I'm simply recognizing...
What are you talking about?
Like I said, this was a trap, and I wasn't able to escape it. So I lost. That's all this means.
Then... You say Kyoko aren't the killer?
Okay!
Huh?
I'm sorry to say, but your time...
But that's ridiculous!
It's because you were late, so the trial started late and time ran... So then, it's time for... But I guess we already know... Now then, I've prepared a very... Let's give it everything!
This isn't...
Makoto, why are you staring off into space? don't... Well, have you decided to accept... I see. So I suppose we have to admit that Kyoko didn't put the locker key in her...
I mean, Byakuya had her...
You!
But of course, I have an alibi. I couldn't possibly have killed anyone.
Well, someone had to put the key in.
There's only one other possibility I can think of. Someone could have had the key on them, then once they arrived at the scene... I don't see any other...
Wait a second. Let's think about it one more time.
Huh?
First of all, there's something off about this entire... Mukuro, who we didn't even know existed, suddenly shows up dead. And then we're thrown into a trial. And Kyoko even said, it's a trap the mastermind set for us.
Okay!
Huh?
Time's up! Class trials.
What?
What do you mean time's up? There's no time.
It's because you were late! So we had to push back the... So then, it's time for voting time!
Voting time?
Now, who will be... Hey, hold on! What's it gonna be? What's it gonna...
Sorry.
Yes, indeed! Yep. Hey! Shing! Thrills! Chills! Kick!
I don't expect you to forgive me.
Let's give it everything!
It would seem...
What the...
In other words... Calm down. In other words,
What did you...
so... Just a second. It smells... indeed. So... Hey. Hmm? So... you... Indeed. However... It's true. In other words... Indeed.